Alright, once you got your swing arm replaced, first thing you gotta do to reinstall your axle, put your bearing carrier back in. Slides right through. Sometimes you have to pry this apart with a screwdriver and stick it in there and push down. And then that'll open it up so you can slide that in. Sometimes you can hit it with a hammer, that helps too. Well, to reinstall your axle, take your chain, your sprocket, put the axle through there. Careful not to hit anything too hard. Just wiggle it through. That way you know your bearings are clearing. You don't want to jam your bearings up. That'll be a real costly mistake. I've seen people do it. Alright, just got that through. Good to put your sprocket back on. Your sprocket hub. Just wiggle it in there. Spin that into place, just like that. Take your bolts. Uh-oh. Sometimes they're a little difficult, just be patient with them. They'll go in there eventually. Maybe. Swiggle them in there. What your barrel's for, your bearing carrier, that's to tighten your chain. Turn it up. That'll loosen it up, make your sprocket a little easier to put in if it's being too difficult for you. And get your sprocket in there lined up. There you go. And you need to take your flanged end of your bolt. That goes in through this side of the sprocket hub. That way it clears your bearing carrier and swing arm. That tear them up. Just got those through. Take a washer. Stupid gloves. Take a washer, put it on the other side of the bolt. Take your nut, stick it on there. And repeat that process for all 4 of them. Again, don't tighten anything down until you're done. So then they just tend to get in your way. Alright, we'll skip that part for now. Then you need your brake caliper holder, whatever the heck it's called. Slide that over your axle. Goes over your bearing carrier. It aligns with this little slot right here, so you gotta have that positioned right. Alright. Take that, hit it with a hammer, lightly. Don't ever want to hit anything too hard when you're installing, and you'll break them. Alright, once you got that, take your big old snap ring. Get a big pair of snap ring pliers. Cat. Gotta pry the snap ring open. And don't break it. Sometimes these things are tricky, you gotta be patient with them. Slide it over. Open it up a little more if you need to, just till it goes over. And you got your snap ring in there. That'll hold that assembly all together. Next you're going to take your brake and your whatever the heck it's called, your axle nut, lock nut. Slide that over here, just like that. I'll go inside there, lightly tap it. You don't want to bend your brake rotor. Hit your axle lock nut, will be better for it. Take this little ring you had, slide that through here, and over into that slot there. Alright, you're in your slot. Gonna back this up. This is what keeps your axle tight. It's gonna push against this ring. That ring's not going anywhere, so it's gonna push against your axle, tightening this stuff all together. Basically just crushes it together. Next, you're gonna take your brake caliper. If they're stuck together like this, stick a screwdriver in there, pry them apart. Man, all the screwdrivers broke. Just need a flathead. It's nothing special. Swiggling in there, pushing on them. That'll pry them apart. There, just got it pried apart. Slide that over. You take your two bolts here. It goes through that carrier you put on there and into the brake caliper. Use our 12mm bolts. Should use thread lock. Yeah, your brake caliper's on. That's the fun part. And now you're pretty much home free. Just put your axle spacers back on there. This is an aftermarket axle. I won't have this on stock. Stick your spacers on there. Grab your wheel spindle right here. This is also aftermarket. Stock won't look like that. Slide that over, wiggle it, and you take your bolt, which has disappeared from me, like all bolts do when you're working. Keep better track of your bolts than I do. Then you put your bolt on there, put your clip through it, and you're done. Yeah, so now that you got everything on there roughly, just go through them and tighten them all up, because you don't want to go ride with a loose bolt or you're going to cost yourself thousands in repair. Alright, that's it.